Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Week 5 of the High School Football Preview Show here at the El Tuna Mirror on YouTube TV, on Facebook, our Facebook page for the Mirror, and also public access on Breezeline Cable, which is channel 13 or 14. You know what? Look at both. We're there, 5:30s on Wednesdays. I am joined again by my partner in crime here, Mike Boydham. Andy Stein could not be with us today's show. He will join us later. We're going to tape his segment for Stein's Line. But we're trying to get his head up here so it can be kind of like floating over us as we do our show. My name is Scott Franco. I should have also introduced it. Did I say your name, Mike? Did I just say Mike?
Did.
Dan Eisberg behind the camera. We're going to go right to our show. But first, we want to thank, we got some free stuff. We got Glendale High School, Tom Worthington, who works downstairs, big Glendale alum. We got a Glendale, I believe this is a wash rag. Could be a dish wash rag, could be a dish towel. But the fact is that it's really nice and it was free. And now we can hang it up. And also, Mike's going to help me here with this. We got is it upside down? Yes.
No.
Glendale, I'm going to say it's a beach towel. Beach towel's a lot like it's a bath.
There is a beach at Glendale.
There is. Maybe in the summertime you'll see people at Lake Glendale.
Yeah.
Getting ready to get a suntan. But again, if we ever get marooned here at the Mirror, we now have a wash rag and a towel. If somebody wants to send us soap, maybe there's a high school out there that has their own brand of soap or shampoo. We would take it because it's free.
And shout out to the Glendale band, too, because I know Tom Worthington, that has a special place in his
heart. And we will talk about Glendale here in a little bit. We're going to get right to some of the big games this week. Tyrone Bellwood's our biggest game. We don't have a helmet for Tyrone. We were hoping Dan's mom, who works at Tyrone, was going to get in there and steal one for us.
She was never going to make an attempt.
Okay, well, see, we were hoping she'd do a Mission Impossible. Sneak it out, get it back in without anybody knowing. But anyways, our Bellwood Annis helmet sits over there just waiting for a Tyrone helmet someday. Anyways, Bellwood Annis 2-2 and Tyrone 3-1. What are your expectations for this game?
I think that the big story in this game is going to be, can Tyrone stop Bellwood's running game? And can Bellwood stop Tyrone's passing game? Tyrone has not really run the ball that well. Caleb Whitby has not really gotten free. It's interesting because he has a breakaway ability, and he's shown that on like a pass. He caught like a 45-yard pass for a touchdown to put away the Central game. But the big thing for Tyrone is they need to figure out a way to finish games a little bit better, because in the Bellefonte game it cost them. It almost cost them against Central, and it almost cost them against Bald Eagle Area last week. They got to figure out a way to get that fourth quarter and play a little bit better. Right now, your brother's fine because they're still winning games, but if that costs them some games, he's talked to you about how close all these teams are, right?
And how their defense has been saving them. Because I think, how many interceptions? 9 in the last 2 games.
9 in the last 2 games.
Because their offense hasn't caught up with their defense yet. New quarterback.
And you got to think right now that Bellwood's probably not going to throw the ball too much. I mean, Braden Partner could be back this week. McNeilis is doing a decent job filling in for him. But Bellwood's not going to pass the ball a lot. So if you're counting on these interceptions to kind of fuel you, that's not probably going to happen this week. They're going to have to find a way to stop the run. And offensively, Eli Woomer, he's thrown some interceptions himself the last couple weeks. So he's going to have to find a way to take care of the ball. But, hey, this is the backyard brawl. There'll be a lot of people there. And,
Do you think people are over the fact now that it's not the opening game anymore?
No.
Dan's a Tyrone person. Mike's a Tyrone person. I just think as long as you're still playing them, right? Shouldn't that matter? No, it doesn't.
No.
Ask your brother.
Oh, I just know he doesn't like Saturday games, but we'll talk about that in a couple of weeks, I think. Anyways, our next game, Bishop Guilfoyle 3-1 at Central 1-3. You and I spoke before. That game with the last couple of years has been like a wow game. Now Central's kind of fallen on a little hard times here with a younger team, newer team, and their quarterbacks. I mean, it's no more Muthler kid for the rest of the year, correct?
Well, no. He's dealing with, I believe, a concussion right now.
Yeah.
And when I spoke with Jerry Albright on Sunday night, he didn't feel too confident about Jesse being able to play this week. So that means Carter Schenk could be there again, and he was doing a really nice job as a receiver for Central, and now he's kind of had to transition into being the quarterback, and they just haven't really found a way to make that click yet. So the Central offense has been struggling. The defense, though, has done a good job at stopping the run, which is what BG does more than anything. But the question is, can they stop Jake Kissel, who has run for 11 touchdowns already this year.
In 4 games.
What? Yeah, so he's been very impressive filling in for Torian Consiglio, and it's just a question of whether Central can score enough points to stay in this one.
And I thought BG's win was impressive because Huntington was coming in 3-0, fired up as any Huntington team has probably been, and I was so curious. I kept checking in on that game on the radio Saturday night, and I just thought BG. I mean, Belfont was 2-0, I think, were they not? Or maybe 2-1, and they smacked Belfont, and now they smacked Huntington. So kudos to Guilfoyle for being able to do that. Our next game, Penn Cambria 3-1 and Central Cambria 2-2. Even though Central Cambria is 2-2, Penn Cambria just looks like.
Yeah, it's been impressive. Penn Cambria leads our coverage area in points so far this year. They haven't really skipped a beat, despite a lot of people saying, including me, saying, hey, the Class 3A is wide open. Well, right now, it's still Penn Cambria's, and Penn Cambria is trying to defend that. Now, these two teams, they play for the goalpost trophy.
Yes.
Central Cambria hasn't won that since 2019, and Central Cambria is 2-2. They could be 3-2. 3-1. They lost a close game there, and they have some really impressive stats so far this year, which I will get to later. But this is an interesting game because it's at Central Cambria, and I talked to both coaches, and they said that everybody knows everybody, and everyone's friends, but when they get together, you want to beat your friend. I mean, I'm sure when you and Diver talk, and the Dolphins
John Diver,
are playing,
my best friend. Yeah.
When the Dolphins are playing the Steelers, you want to be able to tease him, right?
Or when Penn State plays Illinois. He's not my friend.
Hold on a second there. I was implying the Dolphins might win some games, which is probably not realistic.
Anyway. But no, I think Penn Cambria, last week, Mike was at his game, Dan was in here. It was 10-8 Bedford at halftime, and we were thinking, oh my gosh, wow, Bedford. And then I got to see if I bump into Jason Grass, I got to ask him what his halftime speech was. Because I think they came out and scored 20 points in the third quarter, and they
35
won.
points.
35 and I just went, mountain mentality. Somebody should put that on a T-shirt and send it to us. We'll put it up on in our background here. But I just think Penn Cambria, it's at Central Cambria, but I still think Penn Cambria just looks really good. Our next game, Mifflinburg 4-0 at Hollidaysburg 4-0. Mifflinburg, anyways, Christmas town in Pennsylvania. It's the official Christmas town of Pennsylvania. If you ever want to go there in December, it's really neat. But you also heard some good things about this Mifflinburg football team.
So I covered this game last year when it was at Mifflinburg, and it was the game right after Spencer Davis had his scare, and there was a lot of emotions in that game, and Mifflinburg actually played really well, and they gave Hollidaysburg a scare last year. I will say this, that I talked to Homer Delatre, and he said that Mifflinburg returns, I think, 20 starters. So this is that same team, and they have gotten a lot of momentum since then. They ended last year winning on a hot streak down the stretch, and they've won their first 4 games this year. So they've won I think 8 of their last 10 games. But I will say this. Hollidaysburg's supposed to get Carter Muth back this week. He did not play last week, and Vincent Consiglio and Tim Snyder did a very nice job filling in for him. I think we need to see Hollidaysburg develop their passing game a little bit more. That was something they really leaned on last year, and they have a whole new crop of receivers, obviously new quarterback, but they gotta try to develop that a little bit more, because Cole Delatre has been fantastic running the ball out of the quarterback position, but we haven't seen too many splash plays through the passing game. So I think maybe this is a game where they might see that a little bit.
I think this is nice that it helps Hollingsburg that they're hosting this game, because I think if this were switched around this year, I just think that's a road trip. I mean, Mifflinburg's halfway between Penns Valley and Bucknell University, so those boys will be coming on a long trip on Friday. Speaking of a trip that's not long, the Coal Bowl is also Friday night. Northern Cambria at 2-2 at Cambria Heights 3-1, and I will not pick Cambria Heights to lose the rest of the season unless they're playing like Penn State or one of those other college programs. But what do we know about Northern Cambria?
Well, they have lost the last 2 Coal Bowls by 1 score, and they're not happy about it. When I talked to Coach Schutte on Sunday night, he said that as soon as he walked out of church on Sunday, he was swarmed by everybody saying, "Hey, do we have a chance? Are we going to be able to beat Cambria Heights this year?" So I mean, this is something that is on everyone's mind up there. This is a huge game, and hey, Cambria Heights, we'll have to see how they respond to adversity. They haven't had much recently. To lose the lead to Marion Center and lose that game last week, they're going to be, as Scott says, they're going to be coming into the game mad.
Yep. If you lose next week, I pick you because you're mad. Who's going to be more mad? Not madder. That's bad English.
But
who's more mad?
But Northern Cambria last week, on the other hand, they played the most complete game they have played all season, a 41-0 win over Conemaugh Valley, where he was very impressed with their defense and all their weapons on offense. So these are 2 teams that want to make a statement, and this is the week to do it in the Coal Bowl.
And also, they lost to Marion Center, who's 4-0, right?
Yeah.
Not that any coach will ever say it's a good loss, but, I mean, they lost to a good team, so, I mean, style points, what are you going to do? Anyways, our quick hits, we got 3 games for our quick hits. Altoona 1-3 at Central Dauphin East 2-2. How good Central Dauphin East?
Well, I will say the Central Dauphin East just played Carlisle, and I know we talk about this every week. Carlisle
we compare scores.
Kind of the
measuring stick.
The measuring stick. Yeah, we were looking. So the Cumberland Valley, I think, had beaten them 42-0. Central Dauphin beat them 41-0. And when Central Dauphin East played them, it was only 27-7. And they're 2-2 so far. So yeah, Altoona's making a long road trip, but remember, they just went down to Cumberland Valley and won. This is a game that they should be in because based off of that score, Altoona should be able to be playing right with them. And Altoona saw some positives last week.
They scored last week. They just couldn't stop.
They turned the ball over a little bit too much. They put their defense in bad positions.
Our other game, Huntington 3-1, coming off their first loss. Clearfield, which I think probably has won 3 in a row now.
Yeah, because they lost to Bellwood the
first game and everything. So I got to think Clearfield. Well, Huntington again, the mad factor. But they have to go on the road to Clearfield. That's a tough task.
It's a tough task, and Huntington hasn't had much success against Clearfield over the years. This is a game that, we'll see how what Huntington's made of. I mean, you get punched in the face by BG. You have a short week because of that, playing a Saturday game.
And then you have to go to Clearfield.
and you've only, even though you beat Bellwood 2 weeks ago, you only scored 7 points in that game. So this is a game you're going to need to score more than 7 points to win. And we'll see how Coach Luco has his team playing against this tough competition. But Huntington's trying to hang in there. We say, like in 3A, it's all a race for those 4 spots out of 6. So
our last quick hit, Southern Huntington 1-3 at Glendale 0-4. Southern Huntington won their first game, and then they've lost 3 in a row. Yeah. Glendale's been in these games. They just maybe a home game here could be the.
Well, I thought an encouraging sign for Glendale last week was they only gave up 14 points to Moshannon Valley. They had been giving up a lot of points, and to hold them to 14, Mo Valley has a good running game. Southern Huntington's going to try to run the ball. This might be an opportunity for the Vikings to get their first win and get things going a little bit. The second half of the schedule is maybe a little bit easier than the first half of the schedule. And there's a lot of teams that make the playoffs in 1A, so they're not out of it yet. They could still get in.
Okay, and then we have Andy's line of the week, and this is where Dan will use his technological wizardry to insert that.
Short steps. Short steps are better than long steps.
Okay, guys. Sorry I'm not more of a part of the show this week. It's just an off day on Monday when we usually record, and we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but no big deal. I'm fine. I'll be back on the show next week, I swear. But my Steins line of the week this week is Bellwood Annis. Their offensive line, they got a 20-0 win over Central last week. Very good effort. 268 rushing yards for the Blue Devils. Awesome to see all those coaches that I used to see every week at my previous place of employment. Offensive line is Sam Moser. He filled in for Christian Jennings this week. Logan Ridgway, Colin Burrows, Quinn Folk, and Jace Quick. Good job to those guys, and good luck against Tyrone this week. Thanks, guys.
Then we're going right to Mike's stat of the week. What does Mike have for us?
So I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. It's a team that we haven't talked a lot about this year, Central Cambria. Their running back, Ryan Chappelle, he has 716 yards rushing already this year, which is almost 200 yards more than the next closest guy. He's had several 200-yard games, and I think this is pretty impressive because Grady Snyder did well last year for them, and we all know Grady Snyder was a great athlete, but this guy stepped in and he's doing a great job, and Central Cambria is a threat because of him and that line. You got to give their line credit as well.
And I think what's impressive is people know Central Cambria is going to run the ball. He still gets that numbers and backtrack. Again, that's why I'm always impressed with Bellwood Annis' two running backs, because people know they're getting the ball and they still get them yardage. So kudos to those guys. And now we're going to close out with, I know, my favorite part of the show.
Oh, I wanna know, what's the name of the game?
I'm a little disappointed that no coach has reached out to me this week about our cool names. Like last week, I heard messages from Homer DeLatre, Hollisburg, and Claysburg, Kimmel, Chuck Cassick. Our two people this week from Everett, a sophomore offensive lineman, defensive lineman. His name is Jamison Labar, L-A capital B-A-R. So you could say if he gets really good, you could say he raises the bar on how to play offensive line. Andy, that was for you. And then from Cambria Heights, I was looking at this. I actually tried to do some homework and call the coach and the athletic director. Of course, I'm calling him while he was practicing. I realized why he wasn't answering his phone. Jared Lewis, right, practicing. This kid, he's a freshman linebacker. His name is Noah Nungester, and it could be Nungester, but it's Nungester. Dan will have it spelled. But I just love the sound of that. Even if he doesn't play offense, if he just plays linebacker, tackle by Nungester or Nungester. But anyways, I hope I got it right in one of those pronunciations, Noah. But yes, cool name, my friend, as a freshman. But that's going to do it for our show this week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we're going to add next time, like, share, subscribe, and mail us something. I still would like a pencil. Again, bar soap, shampoo. Buy something and just slap on your team logo over it. We'll take it. We're not proud. We take anything free. But that's going to do it for Andy Stein, who was unable to be with us. We'll be here next week. For Mike Boyden, for Dan Eisberg behind the camera, we will see you next week.